You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. Hello and welcome to Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast that's suitable for all ages from 2 and everything in between. I'm Tiernan, and I'm so sorry, listeners. I don't know what all these noises are about, but they have been happening pretty much all afternoon. Sorry, I mean all day. Sorry, I mean since I've got back from holiday. And they seem to be giving me a buzzer noise when I'm wrong, and a ding when I'm right. It's very odd, and it wasn't doing it before. Linda! Linda! Do you know why all these strange sounds are happening, Linda? No, I didn't think so. The only thing that's different is that I bought some strawberries to eat. That's strange. Strawberries. Strawberries? Oh, strawberries. Well, I suppose strawberries is the correct answer then. I'd better take a closer look at them. I haven't actually opened the packet yet, so let me do that first. Okay, well, this strawberry looks normal. Okay, well, I guess I'll eat it then. And this one. Yum, yeah, yum, yum, yum. And this one. Oh, you're right. It does look weird, and it has tiny writing on it. Teeny, tiny, weeny writing on it. And it says, hang on, this is a game show strawberry. Answer as many questions correctly as you can to win a prize. Oh, okay. But there aren't any questions. Oh, well, I mean, I was just going to look in the mailbag and see what's been sent to the show while I've been away. Oh, phew, that's the right answer then. I mean, not phew. Okay, over on Apple Podcasts, I've had these absolutely lovely reviews come in. The first is from Otter Forever Ago Lover in New Zealand, where I think they have people like this reviewer who have been looking after otters since, I guess, prehistoric times. So it's lovely to have one of you write in. And Otter says, so funny. Bust or Trust is awesome too. I love Comedy Club. Well, yes, they are correct. That's right. I thought so. Sorry, I mean, I didn't think so, or something. And I'm so pleased, Otter, that you listen to Bust or Trust too. And if any of you other listeners haven't checked out the other podcast I do, it's called Bust or Trust, a kids mystery podcast. And we investigate mysteries. And maybe I should do an episode about the game show Strawberry. Okay, maybe not. Next is this really nice review from Red Ruby 123675810. Wow, there are a lot of Red Rubies out there, aren't they? I'm glad you have all the numbers so we know exactly which one is which. And they say, very funny. This podcast is extremely funny. It makes me laugh nearly the whole way through it. Please listen to this podcast. It is total nonsense, but very funny. This podcast will make you laugh your head off. This podcast is great for kids. It's the funniest podcast I've ever listened to. Please listen. Wow. What a lovely review. Thanks, Red Ruby, the 12,367,581st. Thanks for saying such nice things about the show. And I am so pleased that you find it funny. That is exactly what it's meant to do. But I am worried that it makes you laugh your head off. I mean, that sounds really dangerous. Please only listen to this show when you have a basket next to you for your head to fall safely into. Or maybe perhaps sort of wrap sellotape or a scarf around your neck. Try and hold it in place, because I really don't want everyone to think Radio Nonsense is responsible for everyone's heads falling off. Yeah, I could get in a lot of trouble. And then we have this amazing email from Yash, who says, my name is Yash from India and I am 10 years old. And Yash then writes a whole load of jokes. So, why does the sea roar? You'd roar too if you had crabs on your bottom. Brilliant. Why couldn't the steam train sit down? It had a tender behind. A boy went into a hardware shop and said, my dad wants a piece of 4 times 2. The salesman says, how long does he want it? And the boy said, I think he wants to keep it. Oh, I like that joke a lot. When is a pie in the oven like a poet? When it's browning. A man went into a bank to make a withdrawal. The cashier said, can you identify yourself? He pulled a mirror out of his pocket, looked into it and said, yes, it's definitely me. I just received in the mail a book on the history of clocks, which I ordered 3 months ago. It's about time. Wow. Yash, what an amazing list of jokes. Thank you so much for those. And should explain one of those. For those of you who don't know, Browning, that joke about why, when is a pie in the oven like a poet when it's Browning. Browning either means the poet Robert Browning or Elizabeth Barrett Browning, who are both very famous English poets. Or it could just mean my friend Big Jess Browning, who once made a lovely poem about bogies on a sunny day called My Crispy Green Friends. Well, the game show Strawberry seemed to like all of those, so thank you very much, Yash, for sending that in. And there's a little score on the Strawberry. It says 807 points. Great. Well, I think that means I'm winning. So, right, let's see how this bit goes. If you have a question that you need to have answered, or a joke that you want to send in, or anything else at all, please get your lanky bald owls, grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. Or you can leave a review at Apple Podcasts, Spotify or Amazon Music, or you can send a message on Spotify Q&A, although they've changed it and apparently it's all a bit annoying to do now. Exactly. Do also check out comedyclub4kids.co.uk for all our live shows. And if you see a llama, check it's wearing pyjamas. Oh, nice. That one was right. Oh, that was wrong. Well, somehow I now seem to be down to 611 points. I'm not sure how that happened, but while I try to work this all out and win this game show Strawberry, you have a listen to this most important bit. Oh, come on.
A vegetable you marinate. Grapes.
Welcome to Radio Nonsense. Lizzie Daykin, a.k.a. Lizzie, who started a pillow fight with the whole state of Mississippi, a.k.a. L. Days, undisputed champion of the maze, or as all of our listeners who are seashells know you, whoosh, But Lizzie, you are very well known for your attempts to join up all the dots around the world to see what picture it will make, for your recipe blog site that tells people recipes you were handed down from your imaginary friend, and of course, most famously, for your award-winning campaign to make people aware of the real plight of the gherkin. Lizzie, how are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having time in between everything you're doing to come on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I've been out already this morning, just sort of checking on the gherkins, seeing how they're doing, and that's something I always do every morning. And then I've just come in, had a cup of tea, and it's great to see you.
And I understand, because obviously it's cause. I think what you're doing is a very good cause, but obviously you do go into shops and sort of take some of them out of the jars, open up the jars, try and free them. That's caused issues, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I have, and along the way, there've been a couple of campaigns. We actually went into some of the main art galleries and threw some on some paintings as well.
Wow.
It's just, yeah, I know. We got a lot of pushback for that, but I think I talked to the gherkins. They're very brave, very brave, and a lot of people don't know that about them. So just you're just eating them, then you're not getting to know them, and that's something I've really had the honor of getting to do.
That's wonderful. I mean, am I right in thinking they don't, a gherkin in the wild wouldn't naturally sort of sit in a jar of brine?
Well, they do have sort of spas for gherkins in the wild, and some of them do like to pickle themselves a little bit, too much, perhaps.
Sure.
But I think, in general, it's not advised by the health authorities. So, in the wild, they would be more sort of, I guess they'd stay sort of attached to the plant a lot longer, and continue to nourish themselves there. And they just sort of hang around really, and just sort of really they would spend their days, I guess, they sort of have the elder gherkin, and then of course the younglings, and it's just sort of lovely days of storytelling.
That's nice.
Grandmother gherkin just sort of imparting her wisdom.
That's lovely. That's nice. So sad to think that instead of letting these stories be passed down through generations of gherkins, we're popping them in jars. And I really admired your campaign. What was it? Gherkins are in a pickle. That was the catchphrase, wasn't it? And that really did well. It really caught a lot of attention.
Yeah, well, you've got to use language that humans are going to understand, I guess.
Mm,
Yeah, we have
mm.
lots of other of options, but I guess that's just how humans know gherkins is through pickling them. When
Yes.
there's so much more you can do with them, hang out, have one stay. I mean, I've had a couple stay.
Yeah.
Um, you know, really, that's something you can do, and that was part of our campaign. If you see a gherkin that's been like left on a plate, for example, at the end of a party, perhaps
Mm.
everyone else has taken one, but they've just left that one. Yeah, see if it needs a room and somewhere to
That's
stay.
nice. Are they
Yeah.
good house guests? Do they
Yeah.
clean up after themselves? Are they, they're not too noisy?
Not too noisy at all, no. Yeah, I guess it's us who makes the noise with them. It's us who crunches them. But actually,
Oh, yeah.
if they're not being crunched on, then they are pretty quiet.
Wow. Wow.
And very, I think perhaps that is the misconception that they're sort of slimy or, knobbly. But actually, no. I've seen a sort of, there's such beauty in each gherkin, such sort of individual
Yes.
personality. Um,
Yes. Wow. I mean, it's. I have been heard. Yes, I have been heard them called ugly cucumbers before, which I thought
yeah,
was unfair, very unfair, because they're definitely
yeah.
not, not cucumbers.
Yeah, and I mean, so that's another part of our work. It's sort of rehabilitation
Mm.
for gherkins who have suffered abuse. So it would be, bringing them in, helping them with gentle touch, whispering beautiful affirmations into their paws. Just
That's
yeah,
nice.
just that loving care that I think, we really don't realize how we treat them and the impact it has. And I think
Mm.
there's a wider, gherkins talk to other gherkins and other foods. So, we've just got to be careful, I think, because otherwise the food just might up and leave.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And I do have to ask. I suppose forgive me if this is a controversial question, but obviously you're very focused on gherkins, but other foods have been pickled, pickled onions. The whatever the Branston pickle is. I don't know if anyone actually knows what it is that's been pickled in
It's,
that. It's just a jar of sort of pickled things,
yeah,
pickled
all
radish.
cube. Yeah,
Yeah,
cube.
yeah, yeah. It's very mysterious actually, and not enough people question what that is, do they? They just sort of eat it and.
No, and I think that's like a lot of not saying that gherkins want to be uh eaten, but they do have a problem with other things masquerading as pickles
Mm,
too at the same time. Yeah, I mean it's been long debated. What are those cubes? Are they even food? Um,
yeah, yeah,
we wouldn't know because they're covered in brown sauce.
yeah. I mean, they could be absolutely little cubes of stone, little
Yeah,
cubes
tiny
of
little stones. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Little cubes
Although
of
they are quite
newts.
soft.
Yeah, they are
What was that?
soft. Yeah,
A newt.
newts. Yeah, I'm just saying you don't
Yeah.
know. Well, they could be cubes of it. Once you've cubed something, it doesn't look like anything other than cubes, does it? So it's a
No. Could be
yeah,
newt meat. Yeah, could
could
be
be
newt
newt meat.
meat.
Yeah, which would be horrendous. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's but I wonder. I just wonder sort of why you aren't. Why is your campaign only for the gherkin? Are you not so bothered by onions being pickled? Do you feel they deserve it, or you just don't care? Or
Well, it's definitely not that I don't care. It's just that, you really have got to, there are other people helping pickled onions, and I feel like they're sort of
sure,
perhaps better. They have more knowledge than me, but mine really goes back sort of to a childhood age. I've had an affinity with gherkins since then. And so yeah, it's I think there's a lot of good work being done with pickled onions. Um, they are, they actually they don't mind being pickled as much as gherkins, interestingly enough.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I suppose let them
But
just Get on with it,
Yeah,
really.
I
Yeah.
think that's more to do with their, for them, because they're onions, if they're not pickled, they could be crying a lot of the time. And I think
Hmm.
that can be really quite draining for them. So I think that a lot of them find that pickling mellows them, helps them to relax.
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah, yeah. It is that thing as well. When they're pickled, they don't make you cry. Onions make a lot of people cry, and I think that sometimes we don't think about that enough. That they can be quite mean. They can say horrible words. They can
Yeah.
remind you of the time they jumped out and scared you, and you cry. And when you put them in brine, they can't do that. So it's sort of almost safety for us humans, isn't it?
That's true, yeah. And I think, yeah, that's been kind of the way we've made peace over the years, I think. It's a compromise, really, I
Mm,
think, between us and the
mm.
onion. And they're happy with that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
otherwise perhaps no one would be paying much attention to them.
No,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. Well, I mean, you've got a very complicated campaign. I think it's fantastic what you're doing. It would be hard to get around all the pickles. I guess they've each got their own. I mean, pickled eggs. No one really understands that. No one
No.
can really even begin to work out what that's about. So you can't possibly be taking that on as well.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I really yeah, you've got to kind of I think that's it. You've just got to work out what your life purpose is.
Mm,
Why are you here? For me, it's gherkins, and it always has been. And at one point I thought because yeah, as a young person, I did like an assortment, a gherkins, cheese, and perhaps actually some peanuts mixed with raisins. That was
wow.
a selection that I would have enjoyed.
Mm,
But yeah, as soon as I realised that was wrong,
yeah.
um, I had to hone in on one, and yeah, gherkins had always been the top pick out of
Yeah.
those.
I'll tell you what. As a younger person, possibly even you might say a child or a smaller adult, I liked when they used to make. They used to have like the like almost pretend hedgehogs, and they had little spikes that had cheese and pineapple. And it's
Yeah,
only in later life I've realised hedgehogs aren't like that in the wild. Like, what have you done to this hedgehog? They don't
yeah,
have cheese and pineapple on each of their spikes.
I know, and that's yeah. You could have lived that life for a very long time,
Mm,
couldn't you?
mm.
Who was it that actually who helped you to see that wasn't the case, that those weren't like real hedgehogs?
I was actually finding a real hedgehog and wondering where the snacks were. I was a bit upset. I saw this hedgehog scuttling around out in the woods, and then and it just rolled into a ball and tried to hide rather than give me any
Right.
tasty bits of cheese or pineapple. And I thought, well, this isn't.
Yeah.
I was quite angry with the hedgehog at first, and then I had to realise it's not the hedgehog's fault.
It's
It
not
is
their
the
fault.
it's the all the fake hedgehogs that I've eaten in my life.
Yeah, yeah, and that must have been hard for you because I guess
Mm.
you've been going around telling people, "Oh, I've just eaten my 101th hedgehog
Yeah,
today,"
yeah.
and actually that was maybe they were all laughing at you behind your back.
They probably were. I think into my face actually. Yeah, it's sort of thinking about it. It's just a lot of food like that. We get told jelly snakes. They're not real snakes, and you
No.
don't really want to eat a real snake. They're quite dangerous, but you don't
Yeah,
realise that after years of jelly snakes. It's all these sort of foods that are just kind of distort our view of the real world.
that's right. Yeah, it's misrepresentation, isn't it? It
Mm.
is. And yeah, I mean, I actually heard something about snakes recently as well, that they do horrible poos.
Really, really. Why?
Yeah,
Why?
really horrible. So you really don't want to be eating them.
Why do they? Because I suppose in my head, because snakes can kind of shed their skin, can't they? So that there's a whole kind of pretend snake. When they poo, is it the other way round? They kind of do a poo the size of them and sort of move on. And
Yeah, well, I think if you think about it, snakes are just sort of one big kind of gut in a way.
yes, yeah,
So yeah, it's like if we just unrolled in a way, it's like we've got a snake inside of us. And so I think it just all it does is just travel through and come out.
wow.
Yeah. Mm.
That is horrible. And I
Nobody
suppose
talks about these important issues. Nobody talks about this stuff.
they don't. No, do you know what? I mean, you discussing it today is the first time I've ever heard any concern about snake poos in my life. And you would think that growing up in Britain, in a city in Britain, I would know more about snake poos. They could be everywhere, and I just haven't witnessed them.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, perhaps you've been treading in them and
that's
thinking it's
horrible.
not poo.
That's horrible. What a
Because I mean,
horrible.
is there anything worse than treading in poo? I'm
That's
sure a lot
true.
of our listeners would, your listeners would agree.
That's
Um,
true. Yeah, it's definitely on the top 10 list of most horrible things, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, I think up with when you have a glass of water and you think it's cold water, but it's warm water, and
Oh, yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
horrible. Yeah,
That's really horrible. Yeah.
yeah, it's
That's
really
that's
grim.
really horrible.
It's really horrible. Yeah, really. Ugh, doesn't even bear thinking about. Actually, I'd take snake poo over that any day. Really, I would.
I would take a whole footful of that
Yeah,
going in my
absolutely.
shoe.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then walking around the whole day with that squelching around in my shoe over slightly warm water. Yes.
yes, yes. Me too. Me too. In between the toes, and it'd be horrible, but it would be better than. Oh, it doesn't make me think about it. I'm sorry to bring that up. We were having such a nice conversation. I feel like I've sort of ruined the mood slightly by bringing up that really horrible event. But these things happen in life. It makes you stronger. And feel a bit ill. But Lizzie, you've got a lot going on. I really appreciate you having the time to be on the show. I have got a question that's been sent in by a listener that I know you are the person that can answer it. But before I ask you that, I've got a couple of admin questions. How do you feel about admin? Are you okay with admin?
Um, yeah, it's not my favorite.
Okay.
I prefer to sort of get a couple of teddy bears to do that for me, usually.
Oh. Oh, I see. Okay. I mean, you can delegate. You can give this to a teddy bear if you got
Okay.
them there with
Yeah,
you.
no, my teddy bears are here, so
Sure.
that's okay. I can always just ask if there's anything I don't understand.
Oh, that's good. That's okay. Right, I hadn't realised. I hadn't been sent there. Normally, with guests on the show, if there's any special requests, I do sort of ask you send them in beforehand. I haven't
Yeah.
translated these into teddy bear language. I hope this is okay. But any problems, you just say.
I'll just say, yeah, the teddy bears will give me the nod.
Okay, that's fine. Well, listen, it's only two. It's only two admin questions. I would say this. I think the second one is harder, but it's up to you, and you take your time, however you want to deal with them. But we do have to do it for the show. So the first one is quite simply, what is this?
Gosh, that is such a funny question. Because that's exactly what I was asking my bottom yesterday.
Wow.
Um, when I saw it was sort of like a spiraling, a big pink spiral on my bottom,
Oh,
and I just, I, I just don't know where it came from.
that's bizarre.
Um, yeah, and neither did my bottom either.
How weird is it? I'm also really impressed. Can your bottom answer questions normally?
It sort of answers me in movement.
Hmm.
So yeah, it would sort of bounce one way or bounce the other. Sort of for a
Right.
yes or a no.
Right.
It's
And it
hard when
was.
you're asking it a more complex question. So yeah,
Yeah, I've never a sort of pink spiral on your bottom.
yeah.
Had you sat anywhere unusual?
Well, that's a really good question. I have been sitting in it was it was a spiralizer, that they use for
Yes,
courgette. Yeah.
yes.
I had accidentally sat on one of those.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So you may have made a bum spiral.
I may have been the first person to make a bum spiral, yeah.
Wow,
Hmm.
wow. I mean, that's quite a revelation. I don't. I sort of feel like bum spirals could be the next big trend.
Yeah, I think perhaps it's like a toy perhaps you could play with, or what once you've made the spiral, or I mean,
Yeah, I don't know what their use would. Yeah, that's true. I don't know what their use would be.
maybe more like a tattoo. It's sort of a way of giving yourself a tattoo.
Yes, I mean, perhaps. I mean, maybe it gets to be that you wear very sort of spirally pants. Maybe it's a fashion thing. You've got to,
Yeah.
yeah. I suppose it
I think
depends on
that's the
how
thing is,
spiraled how spiraled you've spiraled your bottom.
well, it was just sort of, yeah, this pink spiral that kind of came, it just sort of slightly comes out of the bottom.
Right, right.
Yeah. So I can just got to go ding, you know,
Oh, that's
boing.
nice. Is it like a wind chime?
Yeah, it's a bit like a wind chime. It's also a bit like one of those little springy things that you have by a door
Oh,
sometimes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, that's very
Or,
entertaining.
yeah. Mm.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, it
very
has been
interesting.
fun. Yeah, it has been fun to have it. But
Yeah, that's very curious. I mean, yeah, I think you're confused and worried now, but I think give it 6 months a year, everyone will have one.
yeah, I mean, that's very reassuring. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you could be right, though. I think you could be absolutely right about that. Mm.
Wow. Yeah, I have to say when you first mentioned it, because I'd sort of forgotten about the spirally things that people use on vegetables and now maybe bums as well. But I thought you meant, is it a spirograph, which are those things that draw everything in circles?
Yes, yes. Yeah, that was my first thought. Is it
Mm.
that? And no, it's actually only talking to you now that I realise perhaps sitting on that spiralizer wasn't
Right.
the
Yes.
best idea, but perhaps it actually was. If you're
Yeah.
thinking, this could really take off.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you should also try sitting on a spirograph because I think bum drawings of bum spirals could well be the next.
Yeah,
You could be creating a new fashion thing with the spiralized bum, but you could also be
yeah,
creating bum spirals as an
yeah.
art project, and they almost go hand in hand, or bum in bum.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps we could kind of create some resources for some of your listeners for that,
Mm,
and perhaps they could go away after and see what they come up with.
that's exciting. That's exciting. Wow. Well, I mean, good luck. Good luck on the new. I look forward to in a year's time be able to say I spoke to Lizzie before this was a thing, and now it's taken over the world, and everyone's bums are spirally. That is
Yeah.
exciting. Wow. Well, thank you. That was exciting. I didn't know that was going to go that way, but thank you for answering that question. That was
Yeah.
very interesting and possibly the beginning of a new trend. In which case, the second question. This is hard. I think this is hard, but you see how you fare with it. Lizzie, would you rather be chased down a mountain by an angry yeti or chased up a mountain by a dangerous gerbil?
Oh, gosh. Well, I have done both.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, I have done both. Yeah. It was just a sports day,
Wow.
actually. Yeah. Um, it was just a sports day I went to in the Bermuda Triangle.
Wow. Wow. That's
Uh,
funny.
so I can actually give you a very honest answer. Um,
Yes, that's amazing.
um,
Can I ask, did you have to do normal sort of? Did you have to do like egg and spoon race and all those in between?
yeah, we did. Yeah, and we did the what's the sack
Sack race,
race
yeah, of course, yeah, always a sack
tug of
race.
war. Yeah, you'd be very surprised at how strong an angry gerbil can get.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I bet. I just sort of find it interesting. You've obviously, is in the Bermuda Triangle, an area of where quite strange happenings have supposedly
yeah,
occurred. You have these interesting ones of being chased down a mountain by angry yeti, chased up a mountain by a dangerous gerbil, sack race, egg and spoon race. So I like that they mixed in the normal ones with possibly
yeah,
some more unusual area specific ones.
yeah, they did. Yeah, of course there were ones where we had to dig a lot of triangles. Of course,
Yes,
the
of
music of
course.
the area. Um, just the triangle. So yeah, I mean that's the time when triangle players really thrive. It's so beautiful to see.
I
Um,
bet. I bet it is. Yeah.
yeah,
Wonderful instrument. Yeah.
yeah. Just remind me, what did you say about the Yeti there? Because of course, I said the gerbil was angry.
I say the gerbil's dangerous, but not
Dangerous.
actually. I mean, it may also be angry. As yet, we don't know. We just know the gerbil has the potential to be dangerous,
Yeah.
possibly more dangerous when angry. The yeti is angry, but however, we don't know if the yeti is dangerous. So it is
Yes.
could be quietly miffed. could be sort of writing a letter of complaint, but not actually, a threat. So that's the thing. And I think the other bits I would consider, and I say this, I'm talking to a professional, you've done this, but it's going down a hill being chased by an angry yeti, or up down a mountain, or up a mountain chased by a gerbil. And so there's those, I think those are important considerations, the direction of the mountain going.
Well, that's it. I would have said it actually was a lot less to do with my answer would be a lot less to do with the animal, and much more to do with how my knees feel.
Sure.
Because, I find that sometimes going uphill, my knees can get a bit sore. So that's the real challenge, I think, out of those things.
Yes.
Yeah. Because my knees can expand at quite a rate. I'm sure you are probably the same. But yeah, when they kind of go orange like a massive orb.
Right. Yes, I've heard about this. I don't go anywhere near mountains, so I haven't yet experienced it. But I understand that it is something that can happen, especially on mountain travelling. Your knees just sort of inflate to incredible sizes.
Absolutely, yeah. They can sort of the size of a very big balloon or a massive ball that you might take to the beach. So yeah, in a way, you it actually gets a lot harder to go up. You sort of more have to crawl or bounce knee first.
Wow, that's hard.
Yeah,
that's very hard.
Yeah, it can be tricky. It's particularly as it's quite hot in the Bermuda Triangle as well. So,
yeah, I mean, it's a shame that you can't get your knees to do that when you're, say, in the sea, because that'd be really handy in the sea.
Yeah, well, I think that some people have managed that actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. So it's less to do. It's interesting to know. It's less to do with the animals, because I would be worried by it. I'm not sure how dangerous this gerbil is. If they're dangerous just by gerbil standards, or if they're dangerous to humankind. But of course, I failed to even consider that, regardless of the gerbil, if your knees are inflated, you're not getting up that mountain, or you are, but very slowly.
It can make it very hard. I mean, what I found with the dangerous gerbil was that actually they were more of a danger to themselves.
Wow. Right, okay.
So it's more like taking pairs of scissors off them. You're trying to do a run and they're running with scissors. And you're like, quickly get that out of their hands. So other things like lollipops in their mouth.
Oh, no, that's that's terrible.
I know,
Reckless.
they're real. One of them on a little, like a motorbike that was about to do a huge jump over lots of cars, and sometimes you have to pull them aside, which can be quite distracting when you're trying to win a race.
Yes.
Just sort of take them aside and go, what are you doing?
Absolutely.
Please
that's exhausting.
be careful. Yeah,
that is exhausting, but you can't just let them do it, because then you're the one that's let them have an injury, or you've neglected. Wow, that's a lot of responsibility. And I suppose I do have to ask, how who won the race when it happened on your sports day? Was it you?
The gerbil did actually win.
Right.
By, I think it was it's like a quilly second.
Oh wow, that's close. That's very close. And was it just you? Did you have classmates in the race as well, or was it just yourself against the gerbil?
Yeah, I had a couple of my classmates. There were the Gherkins came, of course. We tend to do a yearly trip, and then I had the teddy bears there too.
Wow! So big race.
Fill out the race admin, and they're the ones that sort of enter me in and fill out all the forms.
That's nice. That's very handy. But I can't believe the gerbil still won, despite all the danger. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It can be absolutely reckless. you've got other people looking out for you, you can still kind of get ahead and do stuff. It's not a good way
Yeah,
to
well,
be. Yeah.
I mean, I think probably only realised afterwards that that's sort of a tactic of theirs because, of course, they're so cute that really you just want to come in and make sure they're okay. And so,
Yeah.
in a way, we all got distracted by the gerbil, and they just went across in a quilly-second.
Wow. Wow, that's awful. That's awful. I'm sorry you had to lose that race to that very irresponsible gerbil. Do you know if the Yeti's still angry, or is that sort of all dealt with now?
The Yeti, yeah, the Yeti was pretty angry when I left. I mean, we have been we have been chatting on Snapchat
Oh,
since.
nice, nice.
So I tend to sort of just send the Yeti silly faces, anything that I think would cheer it up.
That's
Um,
nice. That's
yeah,
nice.
surprisingly, the Yeti also won the race, but was still pretty angry about it because it actually wanted to lose.
Wow, wow. And it can't be easy. He's got to share a mountain with a very irresponsible gerbil, and that's got to be awful. It sounds,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, they don't naturally sort of cohabitate, I don't think.
no, no, I can imagine not. It's a very difficult. See, we all live in an ecosystem. We all have to kind of get on, but sometimes it just doesn't
Yeah.
work out as well. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I guess that's as well, that gerbil's probably borrowing your scissors when you wanted to do some cutting out. And that must be very frustrating if they're
very
running,
frustrating.
up and down a mountain with them.
Hugely awful, awful creatures. Well, thank you, Lizzie. Thank you for answering those. I hope you didn't have to refer anything to the bears during that at all. Actually, did you?
The bears were whispering stuff in my ears. They do
Oh,
tend to,
right.
yeah.
They're very subtle. That was impressive. I hadn't noticed at
Well,
all.
they're silent. They're completely silent.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, that was very impressive. I mean, you answered those both very succinctly. I'm very, very, very impressed. Thank you for dealing with those admin questions. That does mean that we are at the main question. And this has been sent in by Mollie, who says, Mollie says, I am stinky and I am a gorilla girl. So it's good to know.
Yeah.
If you just take that into consideration when you answer the question, because she is stinky. She is also a gorilla girl. And I'd like to think that being a gorilla girl doesn't mean she's stinky. It just she happens to be a stinky gorilla girl.
Okay, yeah.
There are obviously gorilla girls out there who have regular showers and use Oja toilets
Yeah.
and things, but I think
Is she stinky by choice? We're assuming stinky
I
by
think
choice.
so. I mean, I hope so. It was very
Yeah.
hard. It's very hard if you're a gorilla girl and you can't help being stinky. I suppose.
Yeah. Feel for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's also we assume stinky is bad. She might stink of really nice things.
That's true. She could stink of mangoes.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? So. Yeah. So hopefully for Mollie's sake, she stinks of mangoes, and is a gorilla girl, probably having a very nice life. Spending, I suppose, then other gorillas would constantly think he had mangoes. It could be a problem as well, I suppose. But
Yeah, that's true.
we don't know any more detail. We don't know exactly what she thinks of or how much of a problem it is. She wanted us to know this before she asked us the question. So I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, just think about that when you answer. Mollie has asked, this is a very good question. She says, I have a question. Why can we not eat grass but be able to eat spinach? Because they are both plants.
Wow, that's a fantastic question, isn't it, from Molly? Love her name as well.
Great name.
Great name. Yeah, I mean, oh, the teddy bears are talking. They've piped up now.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very interested in this. Yeah, I think because this question's been being asked for many years through the teddy bear kingdom. A massive puzzle, this one, actually. So I guess that's, we've really got to put our heads together for this. I think the answer is it could be something to do with how tickly grass is.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
just a theory, that spinach sort of it shrivels up when you eat it. So I think it just
Yes.
gets small, really small, and that makes it easier to go down. Whereas, I mean, I don't know about you, but not when I've been eating it, but when I lie on grass, it does tend to tickle me. Um,
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Yeah.
so I have a habit of doing that. Um, I mean, I know in some places, I have seen mainly areas dominated by cats or dogs. I have
Hmm.
seen them eating grass. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's sort of, it's like a delicacy. Um, and you are required to throw it up afterwards.
Yes, well, that's it. I mean, that's what I was going to say. Is, you bring up a good point with the spinach, in that you can have, I think, just 14,000 bags of spinach, and when you
Yes.
cook it, it barely fits on a teaspoon, and you're always
Yeah,
like, well, this isn't even enough for dinner. But when you have, but like a cow eats grass, it has to have four stomachs to eat that
that's right.
grass, because
Yeah,
grass
that's
just is tickly, and you need space, so it doesn't just keep tickling you and making you feel sick. So there's a
yeah.
real problem with consuming grass, I think.
Yes. Yeah, that's such a good point about having all these different stomachs. So I guess perhaps Molly needs to get another stomach. Would
Yes.
be something perhaps she hasn't considered yet.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, is there also something, because I don't, and I could be wrong here. I don't talk to cows very often. I don't think cows eat spinach. I don't think so. They might do, but cows and sheep and cats and dogs and bugs, they all eat grass. Slugs, they
Mm.
eat grass. If we eat grass, are the animals going to be livid? Is it like, back off? This is our grub. You have your spinach. Leave
Yeah,
our grass alone.
that's it. Will there be a revolution in a
Mm.
way? Could there be a massive upheaval? And, is it worth it? I mean, Molly's question was actually, why can't you eat grass? But who is she talking about there as well? Because as we can see, as you've just mentioned, some people do eat grass.
Mm.
They do. And I think so. I'm assuming their stomachs just have a higher capacity for tickles than others. But yeah, I mean, I would, it's almost like perhaps it's so enjoyable for them being tickled from the inside that actually they wouldn't want to give that up. And they wouldn't, because maybe that's what makes them happy. You know,
Yeah, yeah, that is true. I mean, it's funny when you think. I don't know how you feel. Often when I look at like a grass, if you look at a lawn, it does look like the hair of like a big giant. Like, you can imagine that underneath that grass is a giant's head, and the
yeah.
grass is just their hair, and I don't think hair's very nice to eat. So
Yeah, have you tried it?
yeah, I have. Yeah, it's not. I don't, again, a bit like the tickliness gets wrapped around your teeth. It's not very.
Yeah.
It's not really a nice kind of chewy substance. I haven't tried it barbecued. Might be nice barbecued,
Uh,
but sort of raw, it's not so good.
yeah. Have you tried it in ice cream though?
No, I haven't. No, good.
Yeah, very nice as a topping.
Oh, okay, okay,
It's
okay.
like sprinkling.
Nice. So you're
Yeah.
gonna have little. Is that going to be like short hairs, like kind of beard shavings?
Yeah, I'd go for
Yeah.
beard shavings. Maybe go around the sink, collect your dad's beard shavings if
Right.
you there's usually a lot of them. I would say most kids would agree that they can find some if they take it around the house.
They go everywhere. They go everywhere. It's impossible. You can shave off two beard shavings, and somehow most of the house will be covered. It's the exact opposite of spinach. Actually, talking about it, spinach, you can have silly amount of spinach, but it will reduce down to nothing. You can shave barely any of a beard, and
Yeah.
yet beard shavings will be everywhere. It's quite remarkable how that works, actually.
It
Yeah,
is. Yeah, it's remarkable. Yeah. Um yeah, and so I guess in that sense they're very filling as well.
yeah, yeah. Very filling, and animals don't get beard shavings, so maybe they need the grass as a sort of balance. It's not fair. Uh,
Yeah.
if
Do you
they
think
don't get
perhaps
that.
they would be if they did have beards and they had to shave them, you think they would eat them?
Good question. I don't know. I suppose it depends on how much they liked having the kind of beard styles. I don't know about you. If I think about animals with beards, I think a pig with a beard would look brilliant.
Yes. Oh, yes. And a
Yeah,
moustache, curly
and a moustache. Yeah,
moustache,
curly moustache. Yeah,
and curly eyebrows as well.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Cows. I'm not. I don't know. Does it suit a cow?
Um, Cow with a beard.
It's harder for that to work in my head than a pig. Like pig with a beard is instant. Cow with a
Yes.
beard, I'm a bit. I'm not sure.
Not sure. What about a sort of hmm, maybe a purple beard, perhaps a different coloured beard I
Oh
could
yes, yes.
cow.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I could sort of like if it had kind of designer stubble. I think in purple would look quite
Yeah.
nice.
And can I just ask, because I don't
Hmm,
have a beard,
hmm.
what what designer do you work with for your beard?
Oh, I've got a special designer, Rupert, who he's only got certain clients, and he designs their beards specifically. He comes around with a felt tip pen, draws them on,
I see.
and then that normally lasts a couple of weeks. And he'll have to pop by, and he's a specialist. He's worked with some great beards over time. Yeah,
Oh, and have you ever done a catwalk?
no, because it's not nice to the cats.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
against that. Yeah, yeah.
We don't talk about that enough. Yeah.
No, well, exactly. It's all these fashion people, and they don't think a bit like with your gherkin campaign. No, nobody thinks the cats they're walking on, and
No.
I frankly that's cruel. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like wouldn't it be possible to do it just walking on water, perhaps, or
yes,
poles even?
yes, absolutely, or grass.
Of course,
There's
yeah.
many other possibilities, but again, it's one of these things that we as humans we just don't take into account. The suffering of those cats. We just they're great to
Yeah.
walk, and they make brilliant sounds. Why would
Yeah.
we? And they're soft. Why would
Soft,
we
yeah.
change this? It's not nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. So I'm against that. Sorry, that's my campaign. Stop
I
walking on cats.
understand.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, so in a way you've never well, how did you hear about your designer? Just out of interest.
Oh, there was just an advert on a lamppost. So
Oh,
yeah, it said, "Do you need your beard designed?" Call
yeah.
Rupert Beard. His name was Rupert Beard,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I just thought, well, I'll send him a letter. I had to send him a letter by pigeon. 3 weeks later, he turned up at my house with a bunch of felt tip pens, and drew me a beard, and that's been it really ever since. So
Oh, lovely. And
yeah,
you're a devoted client. You'd stay with Rupert. You've never strayed to a different beard.
no, I haven't actually. And maybe I should. Maybe I'm sure there'll be a point where he's on holiday or he retires or moves to moustaches, and I'll need to find someone else. But I haven't really thought about that. I guess I'll deal with that when the time comes. Yeah,
Mm.
it's that's worrying actually. I hadn't really been thinking about that. I sort of assumed I was
Safe with Rupert.
safe with Rupert Beard. Yeah, Rupert the Beard. It's actually Rupert the Beard. Wears a lovely
Yeah.
scarf. Yeah, that's really worried me actually. Lizzie, listen, we're just the grass and the spinach. I worry we're getting waylaid here.
Yeah.
Mollie wants. I mean, her big thing is they're both plants. There are lots of plants you definitely shouldn't eat and you can't eat.
Yeah.
There are also plants I just don't think are that nice to eat. I don't think you'd want to eat a rubber plant. Very chewy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I'm
yeah.
interested to know sort of why she's asking the question in a strange way. I guess we can't find that out, but it's quite specific, isn't it, between
Mm,
spinach and grass there. Perhaps that's all she has around her, and
mm,
perhaps she
mm.
only has those two options, and she's feeling a bit annoyed that she can't eat the grass.
But she's
Um,
sick of the spinach, but she's
yeah,
not allowed to eat the grass. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, there
yeah,
must be other things she could eat around where she lives.
yeah.
Trees, trees. I don't know if you can eat a tree. Probably shouldn't eat a tree. Any park benches?
Yeah, maybe go for a park bench over a tree because the tree's sort of in its raw form, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. You want it sort
Um,
of processed a bit. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Just break off a leg off of that bench, I guess. give that a go.
I mean, I'm going to be, and I hope you're the professional that's come on this show, so I hope you'll approve this message. But I do wonder if Mollie should also just try maybe a bag of crisps.
Wow, mind-blowing suggestion there. Yeah, grass-flavored crisps even.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, grass-flavored crisps, and possibly not spinach-flavored ones. Yeah,
yeah.
I think it might be easier than worrying about eating grass and being tickled in the stomach. Maybe just have some crisps and enjoy them.
Just enjoy those crisps. Yeah, I agree. And you can have them any time of day, and any time that you see, some grass. Just make sure you've got a sort of safety packet of crisps in your bag, and then, which I'm assuming Mollie carries. And so you just pop that out, crack that open. No worries.
Yeah, it's very sensible advice. Very sensible advice. Well, I mean, hopefully that's it's hard to know when Mollie is perhaps unbelievably stinky and also Gorilla Girl if any of this is useful to her. But I feel hopefully, do you feel we've answered her question?
I think we have, yeah. And it doesn't seem like she wants any help with being stinky. So I don't think we need to really answer that.
No, that's an identity. So that's fine. Yeah, that's good for her. Yeah.
No, I feel like crisps probably is the best answer to a lot of our problems. So I think that's a fantastic answer.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming on the show and helping us reach that conclusion. It's very much appreciated. I know you're very busy with many things. Have you got much coming up in the next 80, 90, 100 years?
I have got one thing in the calendar. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the teddy bears picnic. We always do it. Yeah, got to keep the tradition going because everyone's always singing about it. So
yes,
that's in about 50 years' time.
That's fantastic. Can I ask just a very minor point? But when I've heard about Teddy Bear's Picnic, it's like if you go down to the Woodstay Shore for a big surprise, but obviously you've got it booked in the calendar, so it's not going to be that surprising.
It's true, but I like to not check my calendar actually.
Nice, right?
Yeah,
right. Yes.
So. Yeah, I guess in 50 years' time, I do tend to forget when it comes along, so it is a nice surprise.
That's good. That's good to know. Just I was worried that element of it had gone over time, but I'm pleased the traditions are being kept.
Yeah,
so that's lovely. That's lovely. Well, listen, I hope in 50 years you and the teddy bears have a fantastic time, and good luck with the pickle campaign, the gherkin campaign, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Name something you might accidentally leave on all night. Yes, your shoes.
What strawberry? The whole importantest bit was wrong? So it was right. Ugh. Anyway, a huge thank you to Lizzie Daykin for taking time out of her intense gherkin campaigning to answer Mollie's very important question. Mollie, I do hope that, your stinkiness is all okay, and also that you liked your answer. But if not, please send any complaints you have on some spinach, and then I'll cook it up and it'll basically disappear, so I never have to see it. If you have a question you need to have answered, or you want to send in anything else at all really, please get your lanky bald owls, grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. Or you can leave a podcast review or a Spotify Q&A message too. And if your grown-ups fancy supporting this podcast, they can sign you up to the advert-free Linda edition for a small monthly fee at Apple Podcasts, patreon.com/Comedy Club for Kids or Acast Plus. And please do check out comedyclubforkids.co.uk for all of our live shows too. What? I'm doing the important admin bit. How is that wrong? Oh no, the points counter is now only on 7. What happens if I keep losing points? Oh, was that the wrong question? Oh, I'm on 0. Oh, the strawberry just disappeared. Was that it? Was the only prize that I'd get to eat the strawberry if I got all the points right? Well, that's rubbish. And if I lose, the strawberry vanishes? Wow, game show strawberries are truly stupid. What a waste of time. I don't care that I lost. Hang on, where's the desk gone? And my shoe? And the kitchen? And all the other strawberries? And my left leg? What? And all the outside walls? This is terrible. Bye! You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids Presents. nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense. It's the end.